Howdy, all you delicious people. I'm here today to review Stanley's Lucky Man, Season 2, Episode 10. So, this season kind of goes out with a big bang. Really, we have this episode where, like, everyone is leaving, and it just feels like, wait, is this, like, the last episode ever? Like, because I know there's a third season, which has 8 episodes. And, like, I'm kind of curious what the heck they're going to do with those 8 episodes. Because I'm just like, is this all, like, did we resolve everything here? Like, did they not expect them to have a third season? Like, what is going on here? But yeah, so, because this episode goes out, like, it's, like, done. Like, almost. Even though they're still, like, Harry with the bracelet being wielded around, so to speak. So, if anything, I guess probably in the third season, I'm just expecting, like, a Lucky Bracelet Corporation to all come in on this episode, where all of a sudden we just have, like, a number of people, like a bajillion people all over the world that come here because Lucky Bracelet. Like, I'm just expecting there's going to be, like, a bracelet war or something. A Lucky Bracelet War is what's going to happen in the third season. Like, that's just what I'm expecting. Just because, like, that's how a lot of shows just tend to end with, like, this big, huge, like, battle or whatever of just everyone, like, it's a fight out between Bracelet and Bracelet because maybe it's probably one of those where it's like, hey, Harry, I heard that you killed one of our bracelet wearers. Well, you're going to die. Like, I'm expecting that for the third season. Just be like, hey, if one person kills another bracelet wearer, like, we're going to have to, like, take them down kind of thing, or, like, something like that. Like, that's what I'm expecting for, like, the season 3, like, opening of this. So, bizarrely, every single one of these, like, first episodes of these seasons, like, every one of these things does well, so I hope that does well, please. But if anything, thank you for watching this series with me, or whatever, because I really do appreciate it. I liked this show. I've enjoyed it. So, teeing it up, what is the thing that is to happen within this episode? Mainly, again, we kind of, like, from the tail end of the last episode is kind of really just in this one. We kind of don't go in a very creative way to get to, like, we're still going after Isabella. It's still that thing. That's, like, the whole part of this. So, really, we just take a whole entire episode to go after her and to eventually take her down one way or the other. So, really, it's just an episode about that. There is kind of a flimsy way that they end up going about it in this episode. But, like, overall, like, there is some cool stuff that they do with this episode. Some stuff that I can really enjoy. But yeah, so, with that said, yeah, like, basically, we have kind of also this season, honestly, also kind of ending like the first season in one way or another, which, like, technically, like, we kind of recreate what happened in the tail end of season 1 in this episode, which I'm just like, man, like, this one guy is just having the worst luck. So, but yeah, we also have to deal with the curse of Surrey, which I kind of got a good laugh at. I was like, immediately when she used to mention the curse of Surrey, I'm like, what? There was some times in this episode where I probably didn't mean to laugh at some parts of this episode, but I had a good chuckle here and there. Like, there was some goofy moments that, like, I think they're just like, dude, we're gonna end the show soon, so let's, like, try to, like, add this in there to maybe have somebody laugh, and it may not seem like that or whatever, but, like, anyways, so, but yeah, so going into this, so, like, really that's about all for what I could really say about this episode in a very cryptic, like, way, but I even gave little things here and there away, but, like, there's nothing to really just, like, there's nothing, like, it's the easiest, like the cryptic version. Isabella and Harry duking it out, basically. That's it. Like there isn't much other than that. It's a whole entire episode about that, and really we have Harry, who is to have to make a big decision in this episode. What do you think the decision probably is? We'll figure that out in spoilers. So without a doubt, I hope I'm going to do this very easily, and whatever, it's going to come out fairly easy, but who knows. So let's get into that coveted double five timed territory, because it is about that time again to go into spoiler time. Spoiler time, it's about that time to spoil this episode. So, immediately we have everybody who is at the police station who is just recovering from the death of Winter. And so we have Harry who's telling everybody, it's like, well, none of the other cases matter. The only case that matters right now is going after Isabella, because everybody is naturally saying that Winter had died from an accident. There's no way that that can possibly happen because Isabella is the murderer. And so Harry is to say that the only person that Isabella is to have with her is her driver, and so everybody has to eventually find that guy. So go ahead and find that guy. So what eventually ends up happening is that Surrey is to tell Harry, it's like, well, because Harry's to say, like you can't catch her, not without me. And so Surrey's like, Harry, you're going on like a one-man crusade to like think that you're going to be the only one to catch this woman, and like we're all mourning the loss of Winter. And Harry's just like, well, I'm also the boss now, so you're fired. Like, no, Harry's not going to fire Surrey. Like him and Surrey are best friends, but like also she's fired. Anyway, so Harry is to try to track Isabella down. What ends up happening is that Harry is to eventually go and like go seemingly numerous days without sleeping, and so Anna is just like, well, hey, like, how about you and me, like, we go off somewhere, like Daisy is like sleeping over at someone's house, and so Harry's like, I can't sleep, I gotta continue to work. And Anna's like, well, you're not going to be able to work if you're going to pass out at work, or you're going to fall asleep at work. Like, just come with me for one night. And so Harry, of course, who is braceless, no bracelet on him, goes to Anna to go to this hotel. And so Harry is to mention to Anna, it's like, you know what, I probably do have to put back on the bracelet. Like, I think that that's the only way I'm going to be able to beat Isabella is by wielding this bracelet. So I think I might need to put this thing back on. But, like, it could cost me everyone. It could, like, possibly kill off everyone that I love. Ba, 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 ba. So Anna is just like, well, like, more than likely, yeah, you're probably going to have to put back on this bracelet. But that also leads both Anna and Daisy to now have to like move to a different state to be able to avoid the clutches of Isabella. And so now, like, Harry is trying to think of like anybody that would possibly be in jeopardy because of Harry's decision. But I guess he forgot a guy or two. So Harry is to go off to Eve and just say, yeah, like, give me the bracelet. Give me my jewelry. And like Anna's like, are you sure about this decision? Have you thought it through? And Harry's just like, just give it to me. Just come on, just put it back on. Like, I've made the decision, like, give me that big fat jewelry. So Eve goes and gives Harry back his bracelet, and so like Eve is trying to say, like, from all the stuff that maybe Harry has done, maybe that will like help him like be a better bracelet wielder, or maybe the bracelet will pity him or whatever. And so Harry's just like, whatever. Like I'm just like, I'm gonna end up with this thing anyways. So, but now like Harry is at a even playing field. So what ends up happening is that Harry and Surrey are having a night together, and so Rich or Harry and Surrey, what did I say? Rich and Surrey are having a night together, and so Rich kisses Surrey goodbye, and Rich just starts walking out onto the street. All of a sudden, we see Isabella's driver guy, who I think is like Rory, something with an R. Like Isabelles Driver. I'm not gonna care because this is probably gonna the last time I'm ever gonna see this guy. So this driver is to all of a sudden grab Rich, because this guy is to mention that he has car trouble, but he really doesn't. This guy is to just clunk Rich with this trunk to collect Rich, and I'm like, good God, has Rich not like been in enough things where like he's getting kidnapped, or like he's like having forcibly being accused of murder, or any number of things? Good God, this man needs a break. And hopefully he's going to get that, because there's only 8 episodes left of season 3. What are they going to do to him in season 3? Are they going to kill him in season 3? Is Rich going to be the bracelet wielder in season 3? I doubt it, but meh. Maybe if they kill off Harry in season 3, maybe Rich will have the bracelet. I don't know. I don't think so, but meh. Could be interesting. So, So Rich is to be kidnapped by Isabelles Driver, and so what ends up happening is that they eventually try to figure out where Isabelles Driver's car is, and so Harry kind of puts a pencil to a map and just like stops, and he's like, okay, like there's cameras all over the city, go to this certain part of the city and like turn this specific way, and all of a sudden we see this guy driving this car around, and so the police is to go and collect Isabelle's driver, and Rich is not there. So this driver is to mention that he is to have a message from Rich on his phone, and so Harry grabs this guy's phone and listens to the message, where like the message doesn't say where Rich is or much of anything, but then Harry like listens to it on repeat over and over and over again to eventually kind of hear some background sounds. So this leads us, and I know I'm kind of like skipping quickly through this episode, like we have Harry, who eventually is to hear the background sounds and hear that supposedly there should be a ferry nearby, and there should also be certain bells that are being heard into the background of this video. So Harry is decide that, okay, I know where these bells are, and I know where this location is, and so he's kind of like mapping and trying to figure out where the heck this location is. So Harry drives out to this location to eventually find Rich just kind of like being tied to one of these like spots, and so Harry is trying to get to this spot quickly because the tide might rise fairly heavily during this time. So, but Harry is to eventually end up spotting Rich, and so Harry goes and grabs Rich and drags him out of the water. So both Surrey and Orwell are interrogating Isabella's driver, and so Isabella's driver is mentioning that Isabella can see these police officers like no matter where they go. Isabella can just like, she's magic, I guess, and then like Surrey and Orwell are just like, you know what, like me, like, or really just Surrey. Like Orwell is just kind of like, you can trust me, Surrey. You can trust me, like, because Surrey is thinking like, well, like Harry is probably going to be able to catch Isabella, and because like there's nobody else that I would put my penny on would be Harry. And Orwell is just like, well, you can put your money on me, Surrey. There's another guy on this show, and that's me. Like, I've earned my stripes. I've earned my stripes. Orwell. Good God, he's always like the third wheel of whatever. Like he's always just like, yeah, like who cares about Orwell if he dies in some episode? Like people are gonna mourn his loss, but like a lot of times they'll just be like, yeah, like Orwell wasn't like that great of a guy, which is awful. So, but anyways, uh, so Surrey is just like, you know what? Maybe there's something about what like Isabelles Driver had mentioned, and so just Surrey and Orwell just go down to the surveillance room to just find Isabella, who is just like just standing there, just going like, "Hey, let me look at all these cameras in this precinct," and just like, I guess she probably paid some guy off. So we have Surrey and Orwell just arresting Isabella, and I'm just like, this is like, if this is the way that this show is just going to end, this seems really flimsy, but that's not how it is to all end. So, eventually, Harry is to be called via Surrey, mentioning, like, yeah, we grabbed her, we nabbed her, we got her. And Harry is like, there's no way that you're going to get to her because she's too powerful. Like, she's going to slip out of this prison. Like, I guarantee you. And plus, also, like, Surrey was talking to Isabella in lockup, and so we have Isabella who is talking to Surrey about, like, well, yeah, I guess you don't understand about these magical bracelets and, like, the luckiness that they have of all of them. And so there's no way that you're going to keep me here, kind of thing. So anyways, we have Isabella who is talking to the guard of this police station. And so Isabella is to say that her toilet is completely clogged because she's been farting in there, I guess. I don't know. Like maybe she just put her shoe in there. I don't know. Like stuff can happen, mistakes could be made. So Isabella is to tell the guard, like, well, can I go to another bathroom, please? And so this guard who like is just like brilliant at what she does, takes Isabella to this other stall. And so what ends up happening is Isabella just takes her out with the bathroom stall door, just smacks her with that, and so she just freaking falls over this guard. And so Isabella is just like, dude, I'm just gonna sneak out of here. See you guys later. Like, so all of a sudden, so Harry is still not at the precinct, but he's going to try to make it there because he knows that Isabella is eventually going to sneak out of here. So what happens is that Surrey is to like talk to like Isabella, and then all of a sudden we also had Isabelles Driver's phone that is still like being like kind of placed in this building. And so Surrey is to all of a sudden kind of think like, well, like how is it that possibly like Isabella could still get out? Like what does Harry exactly mean? Like how far has Isabella really been planning all of this? Because it seems like she's been planning this for a very long time. So all of a sudden we have Isabella's like driver's phone who has all of a sudden Isabella just blowing a kiss on camera. And so all of a sudden like Surrey is like, everybody out. So everybody's bizarrely trying to run out, not knowing exactly what Surrey means. And so all of a sudden the precinct just blows freaking up. I'm like, say what? what? The precinct blows up in this episode. And I'm like, what? Like, this is crazy. And I know there's probably like little bits and pieces here and there that I'm forgetting about. Because also, like, Harry is to spend some time with Rich after he's to get back to his place. And so Harry tells Rich, it's like, hey, like, you need to leave town too. Like, if anything, the only person that is eventually going to be the last person of Harry's weakness is going to be Surrey, with the exclusion of Eve, because eventually Harry gets back to talking with Eve and mentioning, like, he's trying to figure out, like, his weaknesses, but he's also trying to figure out that, like, Isabella has none, that she's, like, pure evil, that basically anybody that she is to have left in her life is to basically just be an opening of wallet away from, like, not being a part of Isabella's life. That really, like, this woman has no weakness, because really the only weakness that she probably had was Winter, who was dead. And probably after that, nobody. Because really, like, her driver is just somebody that she could just have put a bullet in the head and, like... Because all she has left is just to pay people off. She has nobody that she's attached herself to. So what Eve ends up doing is giving Harry a gun and saying, like, there's only one way out of this, and you need to take her life. And so Harry is like, I don't think that I can do that. Like, I think I need to do this the right way. And... because, like, Harry just can't take a life. Because... like, what happens when someone's gonna find her body and and with a bullet hole in it? There's got to be some explaining to do with that. But whatever. Anyways, like, I guess you could explain it that she took her own life, and that, like, because she, like, snuck out of here. You could have come up with a story, I guess, but still. So there might have been still a camera that could have been like on in that whole precinct or something. Somebody could have saw something. Could have been a witness somewhere. That could have been this whole case of just, like, Harry is now going to have to go to jail because somebody saw something. Somebody was an eyewitness. And so Harry's going to prison because he killed Isabella, basically. Even though technically Isabella took her own, anyways. So, spoilers. So... Harry is to make his way back to the precinct because both him and Steve Orwell have to go and find Surrey in the rubble of things. Harry's to kind of check some pulses of some other people that are obviously dead. But it seems that both Orwell and Surrey eventually find Surrey, and she's in the rubble. I'm like, what? She's in the rubble? What the is this? Like, no. Like, if anything, she should have been already out of the precinct or whatever, and just like, yeah, I'm fine. But they kind of, like, haul her way? They kind of haul her out, like a neck brace and all. And so Surrey is telling Harry, it's like, go get her, Harry. Like, it's time. You can do it. You're the only one. And so you're my only hope, Obi-Wan. So Orwell is just like, yeah, go get her, Harry. And so Harry ends up going to the precinct, and, like, Isabella is at some, like, art place, and so Harry is looking from out of this big giant hole of this precinct, and so Harry is telling Isabella, like, I'm ready, woman, come for me, like, come on. Like, let's dance. Let's do this. And so Isabella's like, yeah, I think we should conclude this. So Isabella makes her way all the way from out of this precinct to making her way back into the precinct because, like, she just wants to have it out with Harry. And, like, Harry is ticked off enough to just want to just be like, you know what? This is it. Like, it's you or me, and it's got to be now. So... here's the stupid thing, though. So we have perfectly good working stairs, but when Isabella is to make it back to the precinct and no one is to stop her from going in, Isabella just goes and uses the elevator, which I'm like, dude, I wouldn't be like using the elevator. What, the elevator doesn't work? What if you end up getting stuck in the elevator? Then this episode can't like finish. But like Isabella would still be arrested, but like I guess luck's on her side, so the elevator should technically work. So Isabella goes up the elevator, which I'm like, why would you even, like, dude, perfectly working stairs, but to each their own. So Isabella is to go and confront Harry, and so Harry is to just be like, okay, well, it's time. Like it's like we need to just like wrap this season up. So come on, Isabella. So uh Harry is to take his gun out, and Isabella's like, well, do you really think that that's going to work? If anything, like maybe like I'll have luck and like take you out or vice versa, but still like Isabella is mentioning that supposedly she ended up getting stuck here, and that supposedly like some force beyond their uh realization, aka the writers or people working on this show. Like Isabella was saying that there was some force that wanted both of them to be together at this one place for some reason. And I'm like, yeah, like let me get some other bracelet wielders in the next season that are gonna come all up in here. And I'm wondering who's gonna get the other bracelet in the next season. So Harry is just like, well, yeah, because like it's down to you and me. Like it always, I think, had to be that way. That like two bracelets cannot be in one place at the same time. It just can't happen. So what ends up happening is that Isabella uses her luck power to have like some part of this building come down on Harry. But Harry is just like, well, I have bracelet too, so you're not going to just take me out all that easily. So both Isabella and both Harry meet on the very like rooftop of this building. And so Harry is to now mention to Isabella, it's like, you know what, I wish I could have met you sometime before. Like when you were a mother, when you had kids, like before you even got the bracelet, because it has corrupted you. And Isabella is just like, yeah, like it seduced me. And like the bracelet seduced her. And like it's not that kind of seduce, but it still seems hilarious. And so Isabella was just like, yeah, the bracelet seduced me, and it just like corrupted me to just uh like forcibly need to like consume all of this luck. Like she just wanted power and endless amounts of it, and like so she just completely got corrupted by the bracelet. It's obvious. So like, and we also have Isabella who's telling Harry, it's like, you know what, like you're a force for good, and like I don't think that you can actually pull that trigger just because it's just not you, kind of thing. And so like we eventually have like Harry and Isabella who are kind of like, Harry's like holding Isabella in his arms, kind of thing. And so Isabella just takes the gun from Harry and shoots herself, and then Isabella is to die. And so Harry is like, well, I guess that's it. So we just have Harry who ends up, after killing Isabella, he ends up just like walking off. And like we just see him walk off, and really that's just the way like the episode is to realistically just end, with uh like these wide shots of the town and whatever, like basically saying that maybe possibly Harry has been changed forever. Maybe he'll be the villain of the last season. I don't know. Like maybe all of a sudden we are gonna have Harry, who we've like been with numerous seasons of. Maybe he's gonna be the villain of next season. That would be weird. So like, dude, I've invested with this guy for so long, and like, now all of a sudden, like all these things have kind of added up and changed. Oh, also, Eve is to talk about like in the early part of this episode. Like Eve was to talk about Jay and how like Jay was too weak, and like, dude, this guy was a boxer and he was too weak. But because like Eve was just thinking that like Harry should get back the bracelet, and Harry is just like, you know what, I just like want to do something like without the bracelet. Like Harry wanted so badly uh like to not take on the bracelet. And like I think like it would have been cool to just see this last episode without Harry using the bracelet. That would have been cool if Harry could have done it and it would have worked out in his favor without using the bracelet. That would have been a great episode, but it just didn't work out that way. So Harry got the bracelet to be at an even playing field with Isabella. And like, I think what they should have done is had Harry without the bracelet, and at the very end of the episode, like he would have just taken the bracelet back. He would have just been like, you know what, I'm just dead inside. Just give me the bracelet. Just give it to me. Like Harry just becomes power hungry, and that's when he becomes the villain for the last season. That's not going to happen. Like people have invested in this character too much to see him become a villain or corrupted or whatever. But maybe there is another bracelet wielder that is going to be like even more goody two shoes than Harry will be. Or maybe again, we're just going to have another villainous bracelet wielder. Or maybe we're just going to go out like we did in the first season, where we're going to have like Harry against this normal guy. And like, I don't know, like with the escalation of the way that this kind of thing has broken down to, you would think that there would be some kind of bigger story towards the end here. But yeah, so with that said, yeah, I think I covered at least most of this episode, but like there's probably little details here and there or whatever. But yeah, so man, like this episode was crazy. I really enjoyed it. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Bye, everybody.